Welcome to Stomper Mobile, session number 3. Tonight we're going to focus on SMS text messaging, and I'm going to talk mostly about strategies and the opportunity to do campaigns with text messaging. We'll touch upon the systems as well, but most of the session will be about the actual strategies because at the end of the day, all of the systems are somewhat similar. It's kind of like email. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're using Outlook or Mac email or Gmail. You know, they're roughly doing the same thing. What you really need to know are the strategies, and that's what I'm going to focus on. After I go through the strategies, we'll have a guest on tonight from Mobilize Us to talk a little bit about group texting. And we're all familiar with that because of the Stomper Mobile text group that I've set up, and people have been sharing their mobile website URLs and what have you over the past week or so, and it's been delightful to be able to have text messages come in, click a link, and be able to see the wonderful websites and mobile landing pages that you've set up. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a few secrets, like I've done in session number 1 and session number 2, to give you a foundation of what's really important for text messaging, and also to focus you on perhaps the strongest area within mobile marketing for creating revenue. So let's begin. Text message secret number 1. Beware of the pizzazz. The iPhone, the iPad, all the smartphones, mobile applications, all of this stuff, they are currently only a couple of fleas on the elephant. Now, what do I mean? This is kind of a good news, bad news thing. The good news is that because the iPhone and the iPad and the Android and all of the billions of applications that are out there now for mobile, because they're out there and they're in the news, they have increased consumer awareness of mobile like nothing else could. However, at the end of the day, all of this stuff only amounts to about 18% of the mobile market. 18%. The biggest part of the market is still, and has been for quite a while, has been text messaging. And that's what we're going to talk about. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't develop an iPhone app or an app for Android or what have you. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't get an iPad and all of that. This just means that you need to beware of where you should focus your efforts if you expect to get results from the mass market. Now, we're going to talk about in later sessions iPhones and iPads and all of this pizzazz and how to develop an application or develop a niche and profit from that. But those are specialty areas, and there are challenges there. For example, to develop an app could cost you thousands of dollars, and you've got to work with programmers and developers, and you've got to come up with a killer idea. If you don't do that, then the likelihood is that you're not going to get the exposure, and people may try it for a while, but they'll drop it. The opportunity to get exposure for applications is extremely limited. There's only so many categories of applications they have, and if you're not in the top 10 or 20 of one of these categories, you're likely not going to get seen unless you're able to do outside marketing and pull in a niche, and we'll talk about how you can do that. So just getting exposure to get downloads can be a challenge. The second thing is that many people download apps, and while they may be kind of interested for the first month or two, a majority of apps, by the time it hits the 3rd month, people have just forgotten about them. They drop them. No more interest. You're done for. So those are some things you've got to deal with, plus understanding that it's a small percentage of the market. The iPhone is just a tiny part of the 18% of the market that I'm talking about. So beware of that and focus your attention, if you're looking for a return on investment, initially focus it with text messaging. Text message secret number 2 is that the key to ROI, return on investment for most businesses, is to center mobile marketing around a database and first drive text message, or first drive text messaging. Now, what am I talking about? The greatest opportunity that you have initially to experience some success in mobile marketing is by working with an existing database that you have. Now, in mobile marketing, you can't go out and buy a list of mobile phones and shoot out text messages. You just cannot do that. All right? You've got to build your own database of mobile numbers. And the best place to start is with your database, the one that you currently have. If you don't have one, then there are strategies, and we're going to go through them to build one. But I believe many people that are on the call, you either have a business or you've been building an email list or doing marketing, and you probably have customers or prospects in your database someplace. You may not have their mobile phone number, but you've got these customers. Now, these people know you. They've either subscribed to a newsletter, or they've bought a product, or they've come to an event, and then whatever. They know you. They are the ones that you should reach out to first with your text messaging strategies. That's where the money is. That's where your greatest opportunity for success is, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Start there, and we'll grow from there. Now, text message secret number 3, you've got about 136 characters to achieve the classic AIDA. Now, if you don't know what that means, it's been around since the beginning of marketing. It stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. Now, a little bit later tonight, you're going to see that this really is kind of outdated and doesn't work very well for mobile. We've got to evolve it a little bit. But still, at the core, what we're trying to do is to create or grab attention, develop an interest and a desire with our prospects or customers, and then have a call to action where they will begin down the path that we've set up in our marketing campaign. Now, 136 characters. The maximum allowed in a text message is 160 characters. Somewhat like Twitter. Twitter allows you to have 140 characters, and any longer than that, and you've got to go to a second tweet. Well, with text messaging on a mobile phone, 160 is the max. However, because the law requires that you tell people how to opt out or how to stop getting messages from you, you have to include a footer or a message at the end of each text that you send out, and that message will consume some of your characters. Now, if you're using a system that has a shared short code, and we'll talk about that in a minute, the system itself is going to go ahead and put those required messages in your footer, so you don't have to worry about this, but it will take away characters so that at the end of the day, you're going to end up with somewhere between 130 up to 160. That's about where you're going to be. Now, I use 136 characters because the system that I happen to use, that's how many characters are left. And I'm using the StomperCast system. But if you're using another text messaging system, or if you're in another country, you may find by looking in your system that there may be a few less or a few more, and then you'll adjust your messages, your campaign messages, and your text messages to fit that particular limit. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to learn tonight how to construct killer text messages using a formula. In fact, actually I have several formulas. This is the most important thing that I can give you when it comes to text messaging. Text message secret number 4 is that we have to use best practices. Now, best practices, I think we're all familiar with this in particular with email campaigns. We have the spam laws and all of that. Well, it's even more strict with text messaging, and for obvious reasons. You're actually reaching people on a device which is generally never turned off. It's with the person 24 hours, 7 days a week. It is probably the most intimate and highly used device on the planet, and the most intimate and highly used device by each and every one out there. So we want to really follow best practices when it comes to doing all of our mobile marketing. There's been books written on this, and I've just kind of summed it up into 5 points that I think will pretty much keep you straight and on the road here. Okay, number 1 is get permission. Just as you must get an opt-in when you try to build an email list, you must do so with text messaging as well. You can't just all of a sudden start texting people because you happen to have their mobile phone number in your database or in your Rolodex. You can't just do that. You can do it only if you get their permission, and most of the systems that are out there for you to use for a text message marketing campaign will help automate that process so that they are opted in. So you're going to want to make sure that any campaign that you're doing, you've got their permission. The next is be honest and forthright. Your campaigns cannot be misleading. You can't say, respond to this text message or send in, this keyword to this short code, and I'll give you a free ringtone. And then when they do that, you say, oh, yeah, it's free, but you have to buy something first. You just can't do that. It will get you in trouble really, really, really fast. So put on your Cub Scout or Boy Scout, hat, and just be straight, honest, forthright with all of your campaigns, and both you and your customers will be very happy with that. Number 3, you must tell customers if they will get more than one message. For example, if you're doing a poll or a survey or running a contest, if you don't mention in your materials that, oh, by the way, I'm doing a poll, and then I will also send you something, once every week after that. If you don't tell them and you kind of just trick them into thinking they're doing a poll, and then all of a sudden you just start sending them messages as if though you have their permission, then you're very soon going to get in trouble. So if you're planning to send a customer more messages than just a one-off, let them know up front. Okay? You can let them know in the text messages that come in as well. In other words, they've got to opt in to receive these other messages. Number 4, allow an easy opt-out. I spoke about this earlier, but at the close of every text message, there should be a line that informs people that they can text back the word stop or the word remove. Those are the 2 words that generally work on most of the systems out there, and then that will unsubscribe your customer or your prospect from your list. Now, most of the systems, as I've said, do this for you, so you don't have to worry about it, and it's those words and that message that will eat up some of the characters in your 160-character allotment. And then finally, keep it really, really simple. I gave you a 7x7 mobile marketing strategy worksheet last week, and as you go through and think about your mobile marketing campaigns, don't try to create really complex campaigns. Simple works. Keep it simple, and for example, you don't have 2 calls to actions if possible. Don't say, oh, you can call this number, or you can just shoot the keyword into this short code, or click this link. You don't want to have 3 different messages. In fact, even this week, as people were sharing their mobile websites through our group, our Stomper mobile group, some of you were including 2 or 3 URLs in the same text message. And that's certainly okay. We're a group here and we understand what we're trying to do, but you wouldn't do that with a customer. Why? Because, for example, I'm on an iPhone and that's got a pretty good interface. But when someone would send 3 links in the text message, it was very difficult to try to click with my finger any one of those links. It was like you try to hit one and you end up hitting all 3 of them. So there's too many call to actions in that small little space that you have to work with, and it's even more of a challenge if you're on other phones. So those kinds of things can be a real challenge, not only technically, but also in confusing your customer as to what the action should be. Okay, let's talk about mobile keywords and short codes. These are 2 things that you're going to hear about all the time, and I promise you in a month you won't even think twice about it. But in the beginning it's like, say what? Mobile keywords? Most people hear about that and they think it has to do with SEO and optimizing your site or something. It has nothing to do with that. Okay? Same thing with short codes. It's like, you know, what's that? All right? So I want to talk about these so that they're really clear in your mind because you're going to be using them over and over and over again. You may remember this. It was actually on one of the marketing landing pages that we did with this Stomper Mobile launch. Basically, it said you can opt in from your mobile phone by texting StomperNet to 69302. Well, the word StomperNet in green, that is the mobile keyword that we set up for that particular campaign. Anyone that texted in using that mobile keyword would go into a particular database or a particular list so that we knew what they were interested in and what they had agreed to receive and could communicate with them about that particular subject matter. So your mobile keyword is the word that does a number of things. First of all, it can be used for a little bit of branding. All right? Now you may be thinking, well, why didn't you use, Stomper Mobile? We could have. I actually already had that set up for something else, but StomperNet was a little bit shorter. But there's branding there. The second thing is sometimes you can choose a mobile keyword that is sort of a call to action. Maybe it says free candy. And if the word or keyword has a message to it, it will allow you to save text in that limited, text character area that you're working with. So think about when you're setting up your mobile keyword. Think about branding. Think about the type message that you think that word would convey to a person. Also, short is better. If a person has to type it in, short is better. Make sure it's something that's easy to spell if you can, so people don't type in something, spell it wrong, and it'll never come to you that way. Those are the kinds of things that you need to think about when you're working with a mobile keyword. Now, some systems allow you to have secondary keywords or sub-keywords where it'll say, text StomperNet and then space and then the word tips. And then that would be different than maybe I set up one that said StomperNet space and webinar or some other sub-keyword. So you can have a primary keyword and a sub-keyword, and those two help to segment your list. Now, again, this will depend on how the text messaging system that you subscribe to works, but those are the uses of mobile keywords. The next thing is your short code. Your short code is really a phone number. And when I first, started dealing with this, it took me a while before, it really kind of stuck in my head. But I kind of used the analogy of it's kind of like a URL shortener. You know how when you go to make a post at Twitter, there aren't many characters there, so it's a good idea to go to a URL shortener like tinyurl or budurl or ez.com or something like that, so that if you've got a big, long web address that you want to share and you've only got a limited number of characters, you can take the long web address and you can shorten it into something that will fit in your message. Well, it's the same thing here. You know, a phone number can be pretty long, especially if you've got an area code and all that kind of stuff. It can be pretty long and dashes in it. This is just a way to shorten a phone number. So what really happens technically is that when a person types in the phone number 69302 in our example here, it redirects to a full phone number. People don't even know that, but that's what's going on. Now, there are some systems that that don't use short codes at all, and that's perfectly okay. So you could have it where it said text StomperNet 2 and have it be a full phone number there. And later in our later sessions, we'll look at some examples of that. So that's what a short code is. Now, here's the deal. These short codes, if you wanted to go and get your own, forget it. I mean, unless you're a big corporation, and you may as well forget it, because it takes months to get them approved. They cost a lot of money. You generally have to lease them, thousands of dollars a month. And it is just a big pain in the neck. So what is going on out there is that people or companies or systems go and get these short codes, and they go through all of the the requirements, and then they share that amongst people that subscribe to their system. So there could be hundreds or thousands of people that are using the short code 69302. This is a shared short code, but the way things are divvied up is based on your mobile keyword. If somebody sends in StomperNet to this short code, it's going to just come in to my database. That's it. You may have another keyword. So it's the keyword that is determining, how this all works. The short code is shared. Okay? The next thing is, how do these work? This is an example, and you can actually do it if you want. I'm going to show you on the next screen the results. But this is an example of a company that uses text messaging for selling automobiles. This is actually just a mocked-up example. It's not a live one, but it's a very good example. If you send in the mobile keyword Fred Auto to the short code 48696, then you're going to get back this. The first thing that's going to happen, number one on the left, is you'll get a text message back, and in this case it says ABC Motors, go, and then there's a web address. And then you see all the stuff down at the bottom where it says stop, to end, help, for help, message and data rates, all that stuff. That's that footer, that extra text that's consuming part of the 160 characters. That's just built into this particular system, and again, your system would have something built in like that. By the way, if you go and actually lease your own short code and all that kind of stuff, then you've got to actually add all of that extra stuff in there. So all of the automation that takes place by you using a shared short code is really an advantage. So that's a good thing. Now, once the person receives the text message, then it has a call to action. The call to action could be a lot of different things. We'll go through them in just a minute, but in this case, it's a link. So the person would merely click that link on their mobile phone, and then it takes them to number 2 on the right side of the page, which is a mobile website or a mobile landing page, much like the ones that you guys have set up. And I've seen some great sites, by the way, so that's good, really good. So that's the process. You basically promote some type of a message or a campaign to prospects or customers or to your database, but at the end of the message, it's going to basically, your call to action is, hey, shoot this keyword, Fred Auto, over to my number, 48696, and something's going to happen. They're going to get a text message back. Maybe they can opt into a list. Maybe you're going to send them a link. Lots of things can happen. We're going to go through that in just a minute, but that's the process. Then when this goes to them, if it's just a one-time thing, then they just click the link, they go over to the website, and you're done with them. But if indeed there was an opt-in process because you're planning to send them future messages, then you would have to shoot back another text message and confirm their opt-in. They have to either respond or say yes or type in 1 or 2. I mean, there's a lot of different ways. But you give them the instructions, or the system will give them the instructions on how to opt into your list, and then they would opt in that way. So technically, that's it. This isn't hard stuff. It's new. But I think you can see that there's just a few, movable parts here. Mobile keyword, short code, which is the phone number, shoots a text message back to them. There's a call to action. And if it happens to be a link, it can take them over to a landing page. You've already got your site going. That's why I wanted to do that first, because there's nothing worse than learning how to do text messaging and then not having any place to send people. That's bad news. So what's that? Understanding all of the text message lingo. Well, we've been talking about shortcodes, and we've talked about mobile keywords. And, we can continue to, chat about that with questions and what have you in the Stomper mobile portal or maybe later tonight. But let's run through some of these other things you'll hear about. SMS messaging. What's the difference between text messaging and SMS messaging? Nothing. Those are exactly the same. SMS stands for a simple messaging system. Text messaging is a simple messaging system. So if people say text messaging or if they say SMS, they're pretty much saying the same thing. Number 4, a WAP push. That stands for Wireless Application Protocol. Forget it. You don't need to know what it stands for, but here's basically what it means to you. It works pretty much like a text message, but if the message you send to a person has a link in it, that's called a WAP push. It basically is when you send a SMS message to someone where they can click on something and maybe go to a web page or see an image or download a ringtone or some wallpaper or what have you. That's known as a WAP push. All right. I don't use the term an awful lot, but you sure read it and hear about it a lot. So that's really all it is. Okay, SMTP messaging. Now here's where you're going to get in trouble if you try to do something and you think, wow, I found this text messaging system and I can send out all of the text messages I want for free or a really, really low price. Well, what's happening is that the company is probably telling you that this is a text message system that they have, but what's really happening is you're sending emails through SMTP, and those emails are converted into kind of a semi-text message by the carriers, and they go on to the end user that way. Now, these are free, but there's lots of problems with it. And by the way, even for, and I'm not saying that all people that offer this service are scammers. They're not. It's just that there's one group of people out there who set up sites that kind of read like they're text messaging, and it's really low cost, and they're really running your text messaging through email. And then there are others that provide SMTP, tell you exactly what it is. They let you know, the pros and cons of it, and it's either low or free. And they're just offering a service, and that's fine, okay? But I want you just to be aware of what it is, and I can tell you the end of this story is just stay away from it. Don't use it. And here's basically the deal. The carriers set this up, and it's not supposed to be used for commercial reasons whatsoever. And if you all of a sudden start running a campaign of any sort through this, you're going to get shut down really, really quick. But even if it works for you for a while, it's not going to work very good. They are under no obligation to send these SMTP messages along. And I don't know the real statistics, but just from asking around and reading around, I hear that about 60% of the messages go through and about 40% of them don't. So that's not good already. You know, here you got 95% open rate with text messaging, but only 60% of them are even being sent. You know, that's not good. The other thing is that it can take hours for these things to even get through, and again, sometimes they don't get through at all. So you just want to stay away from it. So how can you tell? That's really the bottom line question here. If a service is using SMTP or whether it's real text messaging, you just got to look for the short code. If there's a short code involved, that abbreviated phone number, then you've got a text messaging system. If it ever says that you should be sending your little text messages to an email address that looks like some phone number at att.com or something like that, that's going through email. AT&T converts it into a text messages, and then they deliver some of them, but it's not supposed to be used for commercial use. So enough said on that. Just a heads up to be aware, and if you're not sure, then certainly post the information in the forum or shoot that information over to me. I can take a look at it and let you know whether it's SMTP or SMS. You want real SMS. Okay, next, premium messaging. Premium text messaging. I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but like sometimes on television, there'll be either an infomercial or maybe there's some type of a program or a fundraiser or what have you, and they may have a poll or a contest or what have you, and basically it works exactly like SMS text messaging, except when the end user participates, they are charged a fee by the mobile carrier. It might be 99 cents, it might be $1.99, something like that. But it's a really good way for certain organizations or certain businesses to make a lot of money, but this is an area that requires a lot of expertise, and getting set up to be able to do this is also, there's many, many hurdles. It's very, very challenging, and you would probably want to consult with a company that specializes in this if indeed that seems like an opportunity. It's a little hard because you got to remember, as soon as the person finds out they're going to have to spend, $1.99 just to do a text message, it's not a real pleasant thing unless if it's a charity or a fundraiser, or if it's something that's really compelling and they're interested in, then maybe that would make sense. But that is distinctly different from text messaging. Now, let's talk about the cost here, because during the Stomper Mobile launch, there was a lot of confusion about, who pays for what. And here's pretty much what it is. A customer, a consumer, they have a text plan, and they're either spending like per text message, which is kind of crazy, but many people are, and it could be costing them anywhere, a nickel, a dime, 25 cents a text message, who knows. But if you're not doing many text messages, then that's a bargain. But now, more and more, we're seeing unlimited plans, and that's really where we're going. Reminds me of the early days of the Internet when you used to pay per minute, and then all of a sudden it became unlimited. Well, we're going down that same path with text messaging. You need to get an unlimited plan, and many of your customers and users are going to be on an unlimited plan. And because of that, there's not really a cost, so to speak. Yes, you're paying the monthly fee, but you can text all you want, all right? So that's really where we're headed, and that there's that cost. That's why when these messages go out, you have to tell people standard rates apply, because there may be some small incremental fee that they're going to have to pay for receiving and sending text messages. And you have to make people aware of that, even though it could be, a very minor amount of money. You have to pay for text messaging in a couple of ways as a business owner or a marketer. you need to have a system, and the system's going to have a monthly fee. Maybe $30 a month, $40 a month, $80 a month, something like that. There's going to be a monthly fee just for using the system. It's kind of like AWeber or Constant Contact. That's an autoresponder system, and you pay a monthly fee for using the system. And as you get more and more and more people in your database and you start sending out more and more emails with those systems, then they start charging you a little extra. Well, it's kind of like that with text messaging systems as well, only you have to start paying for the text messages individually or in packages, a lot sooner, because there is a cost to send a text message. The cost goes to the carriers, okay, a large percentage of it. So it's not like there's somebody out there that's just got this great advantage that's going to be able to do this for you for free. Everybody has to pay the piper, and it's the carriers. Over time, these fees are going to go down further and further. Unlimited plans, again, are the way to go, but that's not on the consumer side. We're talking now on the business side. So when you go and look for a system, you need to look for a couple of things. You want to look for a system that has a reasonable monthly fee, maybe $30 to $60 a month, something like that. But again, if they have packages, like if you already know about how many text messages you're going to be sending out and how big your database is, you can kind of estimate, what size package you should get. All right? Just ballpark, you could think, well, if I send out 4 messages a month for every single person on my list, that would give me a good number, 1 message a week. Okay, if that puts you up too high, then you think, well, maybe I can do campaigns that are twice a month or once a month. So you just think about it, and then you just make the most of your opportunity, within the amount of money that you can afford for the system in the beginning. Now, you're going to get results from this, so it's not like you're spending money, you're investing money so that you can get a return on investment. Okay. In addition to the packages, you may have a cost for your keywords, because you're going to probably need more than one keyword. And in the beginning, to stretch your keywords, make sure you pick a keyword that's kind of general in nature. For example, let's say you owned a shoe store. You wouldn't want to immediately go, let's say you didn't want to give a one keyword. You wouldn't immediately go and get the keyword high heels, because if you did a campaign where you were selling tennis shoes, it would be ridiculous to have people typing in the keyword high heels in order to hear about your special on your tennis shoes. It would be a lot better to get a keyword, like cool shoes or something like that. That's general, and it'll work across a lot of different products. Or if you've got multiple businesses even, sometimes you can come up with a keyword like, get it now. That's just really general. That could be almost any business, any product. So choosing your keywords in the beginning is really important so that you can get a lot of use out of them. Now, as you go along, it really is an advantage to have keywords for the various things that you're doing, maybe for the various products, your various businesses, the various specials, and all of that. So check on the price of getting extra keywords with the system that you're signing up with. If the system allows sub-keywords, it will save you a little money, because you can just get one keyword, and then you can put sub-keywords, in addition to your primary keyword, and then that helps you to kind of, break things down. But your primary keyword would need to be rather general so that it would work with all of your subs. All right. Now, keywords are reserved based on the short code. In other words, only one person can have the keyword StomperNet at the short code that we use. If you were to try to get it, it would say, sorry, that's taken, and you'd have to try another one. But somebody could go to another company that's got another short code, and they could get the keyword StomperNet. Okay? So each short code has to have unique keywords, and the system will let you know, what's available and what's not. Okay, in addition, you need to check to see how much extra text costs once you go beyond your plan. Like you may get a plan that says you can send, 1,000 text messages a month. but all of a sudden, one particular month, you have to send 2,000, so you need to figure out what it's going to cost to get some extra text messages in the event that you run over your plan, and then the next month, maybe you're back down within your plan, all right? The other thing is that some of the systems give you what's called rollover text messages, so that if you're getting, say you're on a plan that gives you 1,000 text credits every single month, if you don't use any the first month, then the next month you've got more. The 1,000 you didn't use in the first month rolls over in the second month, and you got 2,000. Maybe you use a few of them, and it rolls over. And you can check and see what is the rollover period. Kind of works like rollover minutes on long-distance telephone plans. One of the things I really think you should test on any text messaging system that you consider, and you'll laugh when you hear this, but test their customer support. Test their customer support. That's probably the most important thing, because you're either not going to understand some part of their system, or some part of their system's not going to work occasionally, or you're going to need help. And if the company does not respond rapidly to your customer inquiries, then you got a problem. So what I do with systems before I start using them is I'll kind of drive the customer support team nuts. Ask some stupid questions, I mean, just, whatever, and just kind of see how long it takes them to get back, and, are they getting back with an attitude? Are they getting back and even answering the question? That's really important. And since this is new for many people, I think you should test customer support. Also, if there's a phone number that you can call, or if they have the online chat on their website, that's really important. They should accept text messages as a part of their customer support. Those kinds of things are really important, so check into that, and then you're set. So you got it? You pretty much need to go out and look for a plan. Now, StomperCast, everybody gets that. It's free. It's a great system. It's the one I use, okay? I'm trying not to lean just totally in that bucket, because I do realize there are other systems, and they each have their own little specialty, and you may already be up and running and happy with what you've got, so that's fine. But if you're just starting and you don't have a system yet, heck, go to StomperCast, all right? Log into the Stomper mobile portal area, and you'll see the StomperCast webinars that I've done. I'll show you those in just a minute. And you can click there, and I think there's 2 or 3 of them, and you can listen to those, and I walk you through the system. Okay, I'm not going to walk you through the whole system tonight, because I've already done those webinars, and they're very focused on that. So do that. And that will allow you to get your toe in the water and check out that system for free. And you get 125 credits each month. These are not rollover credits, but every month you got 125 credits, and you get a mobile keyword, and you share the short code, the same short code that I use. And after you get used to it, if you like it, then I would very quickly recommend that you upgrade. I think the first upgrade is $40 a month, and the pricing's all in the system. You can take a look at it. I can't remember exactly what it is. But once you do that, once you upgrade to a plan, then you get rollover minutes. You get thousands of text credits, and you start getting extra keywords that you can use. And the StomperCast system is one of the few that combines text messaging, instant messaging, email, and social media, all built into one system. And it's pretty simple, and they have excellent, excellent customer support. Okay, the last thing on the page here is MMS, multimedia messaging. That's a different type technology or system than SMS messaging, and I don't recommend that you use that for marketing campaigns, because of the fact that it doesn't work on all phones. In fact, it doesn't even work on an iPhone. So you may be able to get an application that would make it work, but it doesn't come standard on an iPhone. So it stands for multimedia messaging, and it was the ability to send graphics and videos and multimedia. What's better is to use SMS text messaging, and just include a link. If you want to share a video, then all you got to do is shoot out a text message that has a link to your video. If you want to share a picture, you shoot out a text message that has a link to your picture. If you want them to download a PDF or download, a ringtone, you just, put the link to the file in your text message and shoot it out, and you're all set. You don't need to push the multimedia directly to their phone. It just doesn't work on many phones, and so therefore you should skip that. Okay, that's that. Now, with this knowledge and with your system set up, you're now able to complete something that we actually started in our first session, which is to build your mobile landing page. A mobile landing page can be as simple as what you're looking at right there on the screen. You can certainly get a little more fancy if you want, but that's the thrust of it. Basically, who you are, your call to action, what it is that a person is going to get, and your mobile keyword and your short code. Okay, that's really it. And if your campaign that drives the traffic to this page is proper, when they get there, it's just like, okay, in other words, they may already know why they're going to this page. Maybe they received an email, maybe they received a text message, maybe they read your billboard, maybe they saw a little sign in your store, maybe it was on the bumper of your car, maybe it was on your business card. In other words, they've already seen the message. Now they're heading to this place on their mobile phone in order to do something. So you don't have to have a lot there. It's just basically to just kind of close the deal, so to speak, and move them further down your funnel. So as soon as you've got a keyword and a short code, now you can set up a landing page that's as simple as this. And you can do this in MobiSite Galore. So I know a lot of you have a mobile landing page up. Many of you were putting forms on them, and that's certainly okay. Many of you just put a phone number or click the call there. That's certainly okay. But now, as soon as you set up your text messaging system, then you can put a mobile keyword and a short code there. Now, here's what you do. Work with the StomperCast system because it's free, and make your decision whether you want to stay with this one and upgrade and whatever you want to do. But if you're in another country or you want to shop around and see what's out there, there have been several that have been listed in the Stomper mobile portal. And what we're doing is we're just kicking the tires. And as people try these and use them, there's so many of them out there. I haven't had a chance to use. There's hundreds of them. But as people find things and like things, we can talk about it and determine what are the best things to use. Now, if the best way to find them is to do a Google search for text messaging system or text messaging marketing or text messaging or SMS message system, or those kinds of things, and then just kind of explore and read around until you find something. If you find something that you think looks good, share it in the portal or share it with me. I'll be glad to check it out and let you know if I agree. Okay, the systems, most of them have free trials. Set up your free trial, try it a little bit, and then once you're comfortable with it, then you're good to go. Now the good part, text message magic. What I'm going to show you now is as significant as what I showed you last week, but in another way. The 7x7 mobile marketing campaign worksheet was a real breakthrough for me, and I hope you guys have had a chance to kind of play around with that. The more you use that tool to brainstorm, and the more you use that tool to develop strategies, the more you'll appreciate the value. And certainly take it from there, meaning if there's more stuff that you can add to it and make it even more appropriate for your situation, do so. But that is a little piece of gold. What I'm going to reveal to you tonight is another nugget of gold that also took me a long time and a lot of text messaging campaigns to figure out. But I formalized a way to create compelling text messages that will give you a good return on investment. So let's do it. First of all, let's talk about the types of messages that you can send. When you sit down, this is kind of funny because there's a lot of information here, and all you're doing is writing a 100 and maybe 138 character message. But I'm going to give you just more information than you can believe about that short little snippet of text. Let's look at the different types of messages and campaigns that you could consider. On the left side of the screen where it says message, these are things that you could be writing about in the message, or your purpose for doing this message. Now remember, when you do these campaigns, you should think mostly about the recipient. Yeah, I know you got your own goals. You either want to make some money or build your list or raise funds for a charity or, whatever. But you've got to think about it from the customer's perspective. So the types of messages that you can send out can include a call to action, asking people to do something. It could be just general information. Maybe they've just bought a product and you've got this text message information you're going to send to them to help them benefit more from your product, or maybe it's just some information about an event that's coming up. Subscription-based or a series or a text group. This is when people opt in with the understanding up front that they're either going to get a series of text messages from you over time, and you have to be clear about what this is and definitely give them the benefits that they would enjoy by subscribing, or it could be a text group like what we're enjoying with the Stomper Mobile Text Group through Mobilize Us. It could be a mobile coupon, and actually this one should be way up at the top of the list, to tell you the truth. Mobile coupons are just a knockout, punch for businesses. I'm going to spend more time on those in a later session, but explore mobile coupons as a part of your text message. You don't have to have a fancy system to do this. There are plenty out there. You could just say, send a message out and say, show this message when you come to our store, whether it's a brick and mortar or whether you go through the shopping cart and maybe there's a coupon code right in the text message. It can just be text. Show this message when you go through our checkout and save 10%. That's it. It doesn't have to have, any fancy graphics or, the little dotted snip cut around here line and all that coupons have. It can just be a text message. And those are extremely, results-oriented. The next thing are on-the-fly reminders, like the one that I sent out to you 30 minutes before this call started. And last week I sent out one an hour before the call started. And when I did the webinars in the launch phase, I often sent out messages reminding people of different things. So that can just be on the fly, or it could be reminders. Let's say you have a business like a hair salon, and you want to make sure that your customers don't forget about their appointments. Or maybe you're a dentist, or a doctor, or a carpenter, or maybe you give live events. Whatever it is, it's a great idea to send reminders to people, and it will increase the number of people that engage in whatever it is you're doing, and therefore will increase your return on investment. Text-to-mobile WAP push, we talked about that earlier. That's basically sending a text message that includes a link to something. Text voting, that's another thing that you want to look when you shop for your text messaging system. Check to see if they have things like text voting, contest, text to win, text to donate, those kinds of things, polling, surveys. Those things really weave into campaigns well and can help you to build a list. But it helps if you have a system that already has the tracking built into the system, so that if people are taking a survey, you can see how many people picked this or picked that, and same thing with voting. Those are all things that can be in the message, though. But it can also be something really, really simple. You could just not have any system whatsoever, and you could shoot out a text message and then have people come into your store and have some way that they win, just by showing the the message. You know, the 10th person that comes in, you know, that shows this message is going to win, you know, a free dinner tonight. Something like that. You don't need a system for that. In fact, sometimes you can take, you know, people, you know, also want to know what kind of results you're getting. You can just let, if you've got a brick and mortar, you can just let your cashier know that, look, when someone comes in and shows you their phone, just, you know, here's a little notepad, just put, you know, check them off one at a time as they come in so that we can see how many people came in and showed us their mobile phone as a result of us sending out X number of text messages tonight. It can be that simple. Now, there are much more advanced ones that will work with shopping carts, and you can automate tracking and all of that, but you don't need all that fancy stuff in some businesses. It just gets too complicated. Text to donate, my word, did text to donate ever come of age with the Haiti earthquake. I forget the numbers now, but they just raised massive millions of dollars through text to donate, and I think that's a wonderful thing. But what it really has done is it's raised awareness of using text messages and e-commerce and money through the mobile phone, making it easier for us who do marketing to expect customers to be able to buy things through their mobile phones. So that's all really good, really good. Text alerts, email forwarding. If you happen to be in a business where you're at the computer most of the time, but you're doing text message campaigns, most of the systems will allow you to set it up so that when people respond back to your text messages, it gets converted into an email and sent to you so that you can check responses by email rather than having to deal with it all on your phone. So you can set that up in most of the systems. So what I'm talking about here, this is not what I was talking about earlier with the SMTP thing that you stay away from. This is when you're using real text messaging, but your customers are responding back, and instead of you getting 100 text messages on your phone while you're trying to, you know, run your business, you can have those channeled from your system into an email so that you can manage them better on your computer. So that's something to look for in a text message system as well. Testimonials. Not only, you know, should you be asking people for this, you know, set up scenarios where people will send in a testimonial through a text message. You know, maybe they get, you know, something free if they do that. You know, there's just various things that you can do, and then you can take your testimonials and you can put them on your mobile website. The second area of messages that could be done have to do with links. You can have a message that has a link to your web page, a download link, maybe to you know, a ringtone or an audio or a PDF or something. A download to a video, images, audios, all that stuff. Any type of a message with a link. Your message could include a phone number, be it a contact directly to a live person or a pre-recorded message. And if you don't have your Communicast system set up, I would recommend that you go into Stomper Mobile Portal, look for the link in the tools area for Communicast, and it'll give you the instructions. You just need to call the customer support number so that they can turn you on. And they'll give you a toll-free number in the system and tell you everything that you need to do. All the information you need is there, as well as there are a couple of webinars that I've done where I focus very much on that system and strategies that you can use with pre-recorded messages. It's a killer system. The next one is you can send a message that has an email address. You can send a message that has a V-card, which would just automatically go straight into their address book. You can send a message that has a calendar date that just automatically syncs in with their calendar. And then you can also send a message that you intend people to forward it, getting some viral or word-of-mouth effect going on. And so all you got to do is just include in your message just a suggestion. Hey, you know, it's 10% off, and feel free to forward it to a friend. See, if you mention it, they may do it because they may think that the 10% off is only for them. But if you say, hey, forward it to 3 friends or something like that, then you'll get the viral effect of mobile messaging. Now, I'm not going to go through this one because I've had it on every single session for the last 3 sessions, but we're back to these mobile magnets again. as you're thinking about and wording your text message, you need to also think about your mobile magnets. Okay, there were 14 of them that I listed. Some of these things will weave into your text message text itself. So you want to review these to see if it would work into a text message campaign. Now, here's the gold, folks. I call it my get-rich-quick text messaging formula. It's the evolution of the classic AIDA formula. Again, AIDA is the old as the hills strategy for copywriting and writing advertisement or promotional messages, where you make sure that you start by getting their attention, move on to developing interest, create a desire, and then a call to action. So attention, interest, desire, and action. But here's why it doesn't work perfectly with mobile. You really don't need the attention part as much with a text message, because give me a break. When your phone buzzes or rings in your pocket and you pull it out and you look at it, a person is totally focused on that message. There's only one message on the screen. You've got their attention. The technology itself takes care of attention. So you don't have to have this killer headline that breaks you away from the pack, because there is no pack. It's just their phone. It's 10 inches from their face, and it's got your text message on it. So you've got their attention. What you don't have is recognition. Think about it. When you get a text message, what's the very first thing that pops into your mind? The very first thing. Who's this from? That's the first thing that pops into everybody's mind. Who's this from? You've got to answer that, and preferably straight out of the gate. Now, there are variations and what have you, and since we're only dealing with 160 characters max, certainly if you happen to put it someplace else in the message rather than right at the beginning, it'll work because it's so short. But ideally, if you clear up that question straight away, then you can move them on to interest. Okay, this is from somebody I know, but why would I want to read it? What's here that I'm interested in? So as soon as you let them know who the message is from, then you've got to say something that's going to catch their interest. It needs to be something related to why they got on your list in the first place, or why they are getting a text message from you in the first place. Obviously, if they opted in for all the information about the webinar that you're going to give on the weekend, if you send them a text message, telling them that you also mow lawns in the neighborhood, there's a disconnect. All right? So things need to be very, very related to why they opted in. Otherwise, the disconnect will cause them to maybe report you as a spammer, or at minimal to unsubscribe from your list. The next thing is the call to action. You have to tell people to do something. Don't assume that they know. And then the hook. Now, I'm going to show you some examples of these, and it'll all work better, but I like putting the hook at the end. It's kind of like a PS. I don't know if you've ever taken, email classes or copywriting classes where they're teaching you how to write emails. I've never taken one, but I'm certain that they tell you that if you put a PS at the end, it's a great idea, because some people, they'll read the subject line, they'll open up and just quickly skim through the email, and then they go straight to the bottom to find out who it's from, and bingo, they take a look at the PS. That PS is really fun. So I consider the hook in a text message to kind of be like the PS. In other words, if you do the call to action first and then you do a little hook at the end, kind of a little PS, it can be very effective. And I've got several examples, and it'll be much more clear as we go along here. So this is why I call this the get-rich-quick text messaging formula. And I'm sure if you guys start posting and tweeting this out there, everybody's going to think that you really got snookered into some kind of a crazy get-rich-quick webinar. But I'm playing off the fact that recognize, interest, call to action, and hook begin with the letters RISK. Now, let me give you an analogy so you can see why I like this formula. It's kind of like fishing. First, the fish must recognize the bait. If a fish is swimming by and you've got a boot dangling down there, you know, he may recognize it, but he's not interested in it. He needs to recognize, you know, that this is something that appeals to him, okay? So first, recognition is important. In our case, people need to know either your name or the business name. And I kind of like the strategy, if you've got room, even if it's a business that you're promoting, of always it being a person from the business. This is Dan from Stomper Mobile, rather than some official statement coming from the entity Stomper Mobile. All right? Same thing with your business. Instead of, you know, XYZ Auto Repair, it'd be better if it was, "Hi, this is Bob up at XYZ Auto Repair." That's much more appropriate for this medium. Okay? The second thing on our going fishing analogy is that if the bait is good, it increases the fish's interest. That's the same thing, you know, with us. If you put something in that text message that's really good, it's going to increase your prospect or customer's interest. Then a slight jiggle of the line is all it takes for a call to action. For a fish, they see that jiggle, they're on it. That's the call to action when the fisherman jiggles the line. Well, for us, it's something like call this number, click this link, that kind of a thing. Send this word to this short code. And in the end, it's the hook that gets them. So let's look at some examples. Here's the get-rich-quick formula in an example. Stomper Mobile stomps down the price. Pay less by texting discount to 60392. Amazing, 20% off for the next 24 hours. Now let's break it down. As soon as you get this message on your mobile phone, immediately you say, "Oh, this is Stomper Mobile." Now you got to remember, people that would be getting this message have opted in. We're not sending these messages. None of these messages go out to strangers. These are people who have either opted in and own a list, or they've responded to a one-off in some type of a campaign that you're running, so they've actually requested the message to come back. All right? So they kind of already know, in our example, you would already know, who Stomper Mobile is. The recognition part is just connecting the dots, because they may be getting text messages from their spouse and their kids and the corner store and the pizza shop and several other places. And when yours comes in, the first thing they need to recognize is who it is. And then they go, "Oh yeah, I remembered. I requested this information. This is Stomper Mobile. Everything's cool." Okay. Now, what's the interest? Well, we stomped down the price. Okay, that's interesting. If you were a prospect and you had been thinking about joining Stomper Mobile, then when this message come in, it's like, "Oh, this is Stomper Mobile. And look, it says they're stomping down the price. I better check it out." My call to action is pay less by texting discount. That's my call to action. Pay less by texting discount to 60392. And actually, that would be enough. But I think the hook does it. Amazing, 20% off for the next 24 hours. That's my PS. See how this works? It's a really nice formula. Let's look at some other examples. These are all using that exact same formula. Pets R Us. Seeking adorable pet photos for our contest. Enter your pets today by texting pet pics to 60392. Prizes for cute or ugly pets. Now, I like a little humor. You probably noticed that. But if you make these messages interesting, a little casual, personal, a little humor, but definitely spot on as to what the person has requested, all of those things will make your text messages have a great return on investment. Let's look at the next one. Hi, it's Tom with Marketing by Mobile. I've just posted a hidden tips page only for subscribers. Text mobile tips to 60392 ... keep this secret. This is going to go viral right away. You know the old saying, if you tell people to keep something secret, they don't. I should know. I'm the guy that sold a gazillion billion secrets. Okay, let's look at another one. Every one of these follows this formula to a T. Hi, it's Sue, Bill Bradley's assistant at ABC Widgets. Bill asked I invite you to our backdoor sale. Come Saturday, 9 to 5, show this text for 10% off. No fancy coupon needed. But do you see how personal this is? You almost feel like Bill said, hey, Sue, why don't you send Joe a message and tell him that if he comes, to our sale, this Saturday, we'll give him 10% off. It sounds really personal. Truth is, Sue sent this to thousands of people. Took about an hour to write that. If it takes you longer, don't worry about it. It's the most important thing that you can do in text message marketing. The next one, author seminar featuring Jack Canfield and 6 experts. Learn, sell, smile. Text now for details. Go Books to 60392. Chicken soup not included. Okay? People get a chuckle out of that. Now they're going to go and they're going to say, well, let's check it out. Let's see what it is, okay? The next one. Hi, it's Brandon at ABC Carpet Cleaners. Our no carpet is too dirty discount day is Monday. Call now. There's the phone number. 30% off no matter what. All right, this is an example like if people had opted in to his list as a carpet cleaner. The next one is from a pizza place. It's Donovan's Pizza. Yes, that place that makes great pizza. Guess what? Buy one, get one free if you show this text. It's a full moon tonight. I don't have the stats in front of me, but when this went out, I think there was at least 100 people that ran out in their backyard to check to see if the moon was full. But do you see how the PS at the end, the hook, can make all the difference? And then here's the last one using this formula. Remember Sally's Boutique? You stopped by and asked we update you about our craft classes? 2 seats left. Call 123-1234. Your name is on one. Smiley face. Okay? Now, again, all of these messages have to do with, what's your relationship with the customer. Obviously, if they're already on your list, maybe if they've already bought things, as you read these things, try to keep in mind that there was a pre-existing relationship with some of these people, and if not, at least the people had texted in to get information back, like for a webinar or seminar or something of that nature. But these are great examples for you to work on. But if you just were to do only the get-rich-quick formula, you probably have an incredible run with your text messaging campaigns. But I've got more. We also have one here which I call the 5W and how formula. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Okay? So let me make sure you're with me. I just got through showing you in detail how to use a formula which I call the rich formula, get-rich-quick formula, to create a text message. All of my text messages were about 138 characters long that I just showed you, all right? Here is another formula. You may like this one better, and it may fit in certain circumstances. You can just use these to kind of, you can set these down beside you as you're working out what you're going to write, and it'll prompt you to make sure you're covering what has to be covered. So on this one, it's who, what, when, where, why, and how to reply. It's still a variation of the old AIDA formula. Here's an example. Dan Hollings here. I'm speaking in your town next month. Come as my guest. Just text big event to 12345. See how I broke it down? Who and what, that's Dan Hollings. When and where, in your town next month. Why? In other words, why am I sending you this message? Because I'd like for you to come to the event as my guest. It's also, why is it going to benefit, you know, them? They're coming because it's going to be free. It's as my guest. Okay. How do I reply? I just text big event to 12345. Okay. Here's another formula. This one is called the WIIFM formula, which stands for what's in it for me. I'm talking about what's in it for the customer. It consists of a headline, what's in it for me, or a mobile magnet, your call to action, and from who. Here's an example. Headline. They laughed when I said, they laughed when I sat down to text message. Now my open rates are 95%, and yours could be too. Webinar at 8 PST. Text free to 12345. Dan H. So my headline is they laughed when I sat down to text message. That's a play on the old advertising line, they laughed when I sat down to play the piano. Interesting story if you want to Google it. What's in it for me? Well, my open rates are 95%, and yours could be too. So that's what's in it for the customer. They're thinking, wow, that sounds pretty good. Also what's in it is that there's going to be a webinar that's going to, you know, tell them all about it. Then the call to action is just telling people to text the word free to 12345. And you notice that I used the word free because I don't have to say it was a free webinar. The fact that it says text free to 12345 implies that this webinar is probably free. And then from who? Dan H. Now, this is assuming these people are on a list and probably have heard of who I am before. That's why they're getting this, and that's why Dan H would work. Okay, and then here's the last formula, the big Q, asking questions and using their name. Some of the systems will let you merge your data into the text message. In most cases, it would be their first name. And so you can set it up so that when your text messages go out, it will include your customer or your prospect's name in the text message. Now, the challenge with that is that people have names of all different kinds of lengths. So you got, you know, Bob, which got 3 letters, and then you got Alexandria, you know, gosh, I don't know how many letters there are there, but, you know, that's a whole different game. So you got to make sure that your message is really short to cover the various different lengths of names in your database. If your system will let you view the names, you might kind of scan through it and see who's got the longest last name and then make sure that your message will accommodate that person's name. I'm sorry, the longest first name. Okay, but anyway, if your system will do that, then you can do that. Otherwise, you could use a headline there or something else. Then what you're going to do is ask a question. People just love questions. It's hard not to reply if somebody asks a question. So that makes your call to action just a natural. And then you let people know who this is from. Here's an example. Hi, Sally. Could we clean your carpets today at about 3 p.m.? Must fill a cancellation. Save 30%. Call 123-1234. Ask for Dan. Okay? Hi, Sally, that's their name. The question is, could we clean your carpets today at 3 p.m.? We had a cancellation, okay? Call to action is save 30%, just call this number. And then from who? Ask for Dan. And that's it. These formulas will do it for you, folks. Now, here's the deal. You can mix and match. If you put these in front of you as you're working on your text message, sometimes you'll say, well, you know, I need to do my recognition, and then I'm going to explain when and where. Then I'll have my call to action and my hook. Okay? In other words, you can kind of mix them up. As long as you got to read it and make sure that you're covering everything. You wouldn't have recognition, headline, who, what, and then their name, because you'd be leaving out, your call to action. But you can mix and match these a little bit until you end up with the perfect text message for your system. Okay, Stomper Mobile Text Group. Now I've got to get organized here. I have a guest that's going to be on. I'm actually running over a little bit. Do I always run over or what? All right, let me pop out of this and see if I can find my guest. Her name is Deborah Brown, and let's see here, Deborah Brown. One of these days, GoToWebinar is going to realize you can't see everybody's name in this tiny little box. All right. Okay, so we're going to do this an easier way. What I'd like for you to do is, if you have not yet joined Stomper Mobile Text Group, you'll see on the screen right now where it says Join Stomper Mobile Text Group, and then there's a link, mobilizus.com/Stomper Mobile. Head over to that link, and it will ask for a password. The password is member, M-E-M-B-E-R, and go ahead and begin that sign-up process. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to patch in Deborah Brown from Mobilize Us, and she's going to explain this system. It's very exciting, so just give me a moment to patch her in, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, Deborah.
Hi.
How are you? You are on the air with our wonderful Stomper Mobile group, and I want to first thank you for joining us and taking time out of your busy day. I'll let you guys know that I met Deborah actually when I was working on another project. Gosh, geez, it's been almost 2 years, it seems like. And I believe that you or your company at one time was actually based in Tucson. You're no longer here. And that's kind of the way we originally, connected up. And her system back then, it was cool, but it has really become quite sophisticated and even cooler today. And I think everybody realizes that because we've been using it. And I wanted to thank you, Deborah, for allowing us to kind of demo your system during our course here. But what I'd like for you to do is just kind of share a little bit about what your system is. I'm actually going to go over to the website as you're talking here so you can actually see it. And just, talk a little bit about what it does, and then I'll ask questions. And if anybody, as you're listening, if you've got any questions, we're going to open it up so that you can actually ask Deborah questions in just a little bit. So take it away. Tell us about Mobilize Us. Why would anybody want to use Mobilize Us?
Great. Thank you so much, Dan, and thank you, everybody listening right now, for giving us the opportunity to talk. I'm just going to give you a little background on how our service works, tell you some stories about some campaigns we've worked on with some of our clients that have been really successful and fun, and then just open it up for questions. So, yeah, as Dan said, Mobilize Us is our system. We kind of pride ourselves on having a hybrid system that allows companies to combine different types of text messaging services. So we have the ability to mix texting in from a short code with sending messages out through a long code. And there are certain benefits to that, being able to select a 10-digit number that is matches your area code, so people feel like they're getting a message from someone in their area code. One good example of that is we work with a company called Elements Massage, and they have several locations all over the country. And they've done a really good job of using text messaging in combination with their existing marketing efforts. So, for example, they do mailers through value pack ads and such. And they actually include the instructions on their value pack ad for how people can text in. And then they provide them with an incentive right there. So people text massage in to the short code, and right then they get a message back saying, come in the next 2 weeks and show this message, and you get extra half hour of the massage. So if it's a half-hour massage, you get another half hour, or you can get 30% off. Sometimes they mix it up. Sometimes they say just 10% off. What's really cool about our system is it has a lot of flexibility. You're in the driver's seat 100%, and you can make changes on the fly. So if you want to test different campaigns against each other, you have the capacity to do that. So you might try, is it going to bring more people in if we do a 10% off discount versus a half-hour free, etc. So that was an exciting campaign. We've also worked with some text-to-win tech campaigns with Subaru of America. That was a fun one. They are working on their niche marketing, and one thing that they're really trying to do is kind of build the brand name, build Subaru, because as popular it is where we're located here in Colorado, it's on the East Coast, forget about it. They have no name recognition. So the way in which they were doing that is they were going to different conventions and shows, and just in the windows of their display vehicles, they had the instructions for people to text in Subaru, and they offered a chance for a $250 gift card, but to get the gift, to be eligible, you had to come in for a test drive. And again, it was show this text message at your nearest Subaru dealer for a chance to win. And that enabled them to qualify their audience and, entice people who might be apprehensive to text in for that shot at a $250 gift card. Also, I heard Dan mention the viral effect. That's certainly something that we've seen. We were working a campaign with Foothills Mall in Tucson, Arizona, and they actually had a pool, which is something that might be of interest to some of you who are doing marketing for multiple customers, whether it's bricks and mortar businesses or online businesses. So the Foothills Mall food court all pooled into one text messaging group, and they basically took turns. Each day, each location got to send out a message, and each restaurant was building their own list at the same time, and I'll tell you how. So basically, for example, they have a smoothie place in the mall. When the smoothie place sent out their message, it was buy one, get one free, and they actually had more people come in to redeem the message than they had on the text list. So again, it was quite obvious that not only were people getting the message, but they were forwarding it to their friends. And as Dan mentioned, sometimes if you plant that seed by encouraging people to do that, that's all they need to forward it to everyone in their phone book. That's the great thing about text messaging. It's so easy to forward. So, and again, we actually set up their campaign so that in addition to redeeming the message, once they did that, they had the option to join that individual location's text messaging list. So again, it was the Foothill Malls that was piloting this program for all the food courts, but at the same time, not only were the locations able to benefit from taking turns, but then they were able to build their own list by giving people the opportunity to text their own keyword into the system to join their specific list. So now they had the opportunity to send their messages independent of this shared list.
Yeah. That's interesting. Let me ask a couple of questions. So on the the one that was at the mall, so there's an area where people eat, and there's a lot of different restaurants all around that area. So what you're saying is that they created a single way that people could opt in this open area, so that all people who were going there to eat would then have on a rotation or randomly the different eateries that were in the area could shoot out a special promotion or message to the group that joined. That's just about as creative as I can think of. I mean, that's just a great idea. So that's what they were doing. Did I understand you correct?
Exactly, and we've actually used that model again since then. We actually work with a company that provides a platform to chambers of commerce, and they're looking at using it as a way to have the chamber purchase the service and then be able to resell it to the individual business members. And again, then people can opt into this larger list, and the individual businesses can take turns. They can also sell individual texting plans. So, and that would apply, of course, not just to chambers of commerce. We have merchant associations. Actually, the Downtown Tucson Merchant Association, we started a pilot program with as well back when we were in Tucson. And you can do the same thing, as an affiliate or a marketing consultant who has multiple businesses. If you find a nice suite of businesses that complement each other nicely, it might benefit them all. But again, you can also use that in conjunction with building individual lists based on individual keywords.
I got it. So now, if a person is a consultant and they're wanting to offer this to other businesses, I believe you also have a way that this can be private labeled or an affiliate program or something. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So we actually do our affiliate program where the price we advertise on the website is the commission comes out of that price. So you don't have to worry about marking up the service or worry that if a customer goes to our website, they might find that what they're paying is higher than what you're being charged. We also do have the ability to do white labeling, where you can set the price as you see fit. One customer we do that with is League USA. We actually work with a lot of sports teams, and they have about 7,000 leagues and teams. And for price reasons, they actually integrated our hybrid system, which combines the benefits of texting in through a short code with the price advantage of sending out through email to SMS. And they used our API to basically integrate that into their service, so people could, their customers can send messages through their website without ever knowing that it's being powered by our service.
Got it.
So we have both a full white label service as well as just a reseller program in which you get paid out of the price that's advertised.
Got it. Now, folks, just so you know, and you can explore this later, there's not as much profit in text messaging, and so your affiliate programs and things are lesser than like selling info products and things of that nature. But Mobilize Us does have some pretty decent pricing here. By the way, now if you have questions of Deborah, then go ahead and type those into the question and answer box. And there's a few that are coming in, and we're going to address those as they come in. Basically, I've got your prices up on the screen now, Deborah. And basically, 1,000 messages. If you're a nonprofit, it's $19.99 a month. If you're a business, it's $34.99 a month. Now, can you tell me, are those 1,000 messages, is that a use or lose each month, or do they roll over, or how does that work?
It's a use or lose, but we have on many occasions with groups that are kind of slow-growing set up plans. That's one benefit of the way we work. We're small enough that we still provide very much customized service and dedicated care to our customers. So, for example, we have some slow growth groups that simply were using 100 or 200 messages a month, and we simply made them roll over.
I got you.
So that they could keep those messages as they grow their group. So.
Okay. Well, in fact, you and I were talking earlier. If there's anyone, and again, the main reason we're talking about this system tonight is not so much that I would hate to say, you know, this is the best text messaging system or anything like that. This is a very good one that does some unique things. And what I like is that Deborah is extremely responsive, and what she just said is worth its weight in gold. You know, they're small enough to be able to care about their users, but the system is sophisticated enough to do anything that you'd want it to do. And there are differences between Mobilize Us and the StomperCast system, and I'm going to throw out a few because I'm familiar with both of them, and if Deborah can think of any extras, certainly chime in, but that is the big question here. Now, I kind of twisted Deborah's arm a little bit and asked her if she would do a special favor for our group, because I know a lot of people may want to try this system for a while, and you don't want to throw, you know, $35 at it and only to find out it's not for you. So correct me if I'm wrong, but if anyone does sign up, you're going to give them the first month for free. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that means basically you can get in there and kick the tires for a month with 1,000 messages available for you without paying the $34.99, and then if it's something you think you can work with, then bingo, you can go forward. If not, then you're out of there, and you know, nothing's lost. But so that's what you're going to be willing to do. All you have to do is either just let them know that you're with Stomper Mobile, or when you signed up, make sure there's a little drop-down menu that has Stomper Mobile on it, and then that'll trigger so that they'll know to actually give you the discount. But let me do this. Let me try to talk just a little bit about the differences, because I'm seeing quite a few questions coming in. Someone said, what's the difference between Communicast and Mobilize Us? Well, first of all, Communicast is the toll-free number system. It has nothing to do with this whatsoever. I believe what you were asking is what's the difference between StomperCast and Mobilize Us. And I certainly don't blame you for getting them mixed up. I do as well. But anyway, StomperCast is the text messaging system. Communicast is the toll-free number system. And Mobilize Us is a text messaging system that has a specialty of doing group texting. So here's one difference. With the Mobilize Us system, it does allow two-way messaging, just as we are experiencing now as a part of the Stomper Mobile group, meaning that when I shoot out a message, everybody reads it, and when you shoot out a message, everybody reads it. It's kind of like a a forum area, on a website like the Stomper portal. If you're a part of that, everybody gets to experience everybody's messages, and that can be just an absolute, benefit. You cannot do that with the StomperCast system. It's not meant to be a group system. It's one way, either you out to your customers or the customer can communicate back with you, but the group thing does not exist there whatsoever. So Mobilize Us, that's the one outstanding feature if you happen to have a business application where that would work for. And with the popularity that we see of social media, Twitter and Facebook, and how people like to interact and what have you, if you can come up with a scenario where people can interact, it can be hugely valuable. And so it's, there's that. Let me see what other questions I've got here.
I could also, Dan, if I could give a couple examples of applications for that.
Okay.
So, for example, in terms of building like just brand and loyalty, there's a bookstore in Denver, and they created a two-way texting group for their customers to create basically a virtual text message book club where they could text all the members in that group about, book reviews, books they've read, books people should buy, etc. They also set up subgroups within that to separate it through genre to keep the message volume down. So you could have the end users basically decide if they want to get text messages about, do it yourself versus self-help or etc.
Oh, yeah.
And then also,
And by the way, what you mentioned is yes, you can have a group. What she's saying here is like here you got a group of people who are reading books, but there can be what do you call them, subgroups?
Mm-hmm.
Subgroups where you could have fiction and children's books and self-help and all kinds of things. You can set that up, and that's done with like sub-keywords. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's sub-keywords. Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And if you set up a demo group, it's very easy to see, you know, how you can play with different subgroups and set them up. You can have people join specific subgroups, or you can put them in there manually. Another example we have of two-way communications is we have a lot of groups that do sales groups that use it to exchange, like, I just closed this deal, I just sold this mortgage. And they send out messages kind of for morale building and team building, as well as, you know, don't forget we have a team conference call, or, you know, timesheets due at the end of the week, don't forget, stuff like that.
I've got it. Now, through your system, if they want to send out email, does it handle email as well, or is it just text messaging?
Yeah, we do have the ability to send out emails as well.
Okay.
The interplay that you have to do to be able to use that is in the registration collection.
Mm-hmm.
You have to collect people's email addresses. And again, like, we really enjoy coming up with customized campaigns that enable you to do just that. So we actually had a campaign where people texted in through a long code, and they got, through the short code, and they got a message back asking them to reply with their email address. And so that enabled this group that did it to have people opt in. So now they're opted in to receive text, and they replied with their email. They used our system for the email distribution list as well.
Wow, that's incredible.
Those are all types of customized projects that we absolutely love doing. You know, we really enjoy working with people that are new to texting, and, you know, we're happy to help with text crafting, you know, to help groups get the hang of it. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, let me look again here at the questions here. Now, quite a few people are saying, okay, I'm in Canada, I'm in the UK, I'm in Australia, I'm international, and I've been trying to opt into the group and I can't do it. Your system is U.S. only, is that correct?
It is U.S. only for the way it's set up right now. We do have the capacity to do international messaging through long codes and through email to SMS, but it's more expensive. So to limit our liability, that has to be a customized functionality that we set up.
Correct. They wanted to make sure that you do the FCC rules in regards to opting out and all of that kind of stuff. You cover. They don't have to do anything. You take care of that for them, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And through our platform, it makes it really easy to see who's opted out and who's active. And also, our system has a couple extra features that make sure that if somebody somehow gets on a list, let's say they get a new phone and the person who owned the phone prior to them was on the list, we haven't seen anybody else in the industry really be able to address this sufficiently. But with our system, if you send a message and our system doesn't understand it, you'll get a message back giving you a phone number you can call. So if it's somebody who gets on this list, they don't know how to text message, you know, they don't know how to reply, stop, or quit, they can call a phone number and get opted out too.
Okay,
which is unique. And it's good from, you know, the last thing any brand or any business wants is to get a bad rep because somebody can't get off their list. And, you know.
Yep. No doubt. Also, here's another one. Someone wants to know if they start off on a lower plan, can they upgrade to a higher plan, or if they get to the higher plan and then find they're not using it? In other words, is it easy enough to move up or down the plans within your system?
Yeah, absolutely, and you can move on a month-to-month basis.
Okay.
So, you know, if you have high volume one month, you can just bump it up for that month, and then the next month you can go right back down. You can also buy buckets of messages. So if you're just running low and you know you don't need a full, 1,000, you can just buy a bucket of 500 messages.
I'm trying to picture this bucket full of messages here. Let me ask another question. Now, someone wants to know how do you count the text? In other words, if there's 10 people in my group and I'm paying for this system, if I shoot a message out, then that's like 10 messages out to my 10 members. And then as they respond back, then I assume that it counts as a message when they respond back. Any clarity on that?
Sure. First thing, we actually, for the registration through our system, through the widget or the long, we don't charge for registration messages at all. But in terms of sending messages, like you said, Dan, if you've got 10 people in your group and you send a message, that counts as 10 messages.
Okay. And then if all 10 of those people all responded back, then that would be 100 right there.
Right, yeah, if you have a two-way texting group. Yep.
Yes, okay, because if you're doing two-way. Now, you can also set this up so that it's not two-way. Like, for example, back to the food court example, I'm sure that wasn't set up so that all of the people eating, if they were to text in and back and forth with the restaurant, they weren't texting back and forth with other people who were also, just customers.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. So you can decide how you want to do that. Now, let me ask you this: can you have more than one campaign going within this system? Let's say I signed up for 1,000. Can I set it up so that I could have one little group going that was like two-way, but I could have another one going that was one-way?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you can set up as many of these groups as you want, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you'll just need to contact us and let us know that they're all under the same account.
Okay. Okay,
so
very good. And by the way, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's the only thing you'll just need to let us know so that, each account can be hooked in. Yeah.
Right. Now, for people who maybe missed the last call, when you do send messages into the Stomper mobile system, the way that you do it, I have it on the screen right now, is you just send the keyword Stomper mobile, and then you put a dash, no spaces, and then you start typing your message. And there are 145 characters that are available for you to use, but because I've got the system set to include your name, you need to subtract out the number of characters that your name might be. So you can send a 145-character message. If your name was 10 characters long, then you would subtract 10 from 145. That would give you 35. So 135. So that's the way it works. But I've got the system set up that way. It doesn't have to include your name. I just decided to do that so you guys could know where the messages were coming from. If I were to turn that off, or if you wanted to use it and turn it off, then that would give you more characters. But then it would be each person's responsibility to indicate who they were when they send the message out. So that's one thing. The other thing is that I've got our group set up to have a password. You don't have to have the password. The only reason I did that is because our group is so large, but in most cases I would imagine that you probably don't even need the password. Then it's really, really easy to actually subscribe. Now, Deborah's been talking about this a lot, and I want to just pop it up on the screen. She is very reachable. That's one of the reasons that I like what you're doing there. I've just put your email address up on the screen, deborah.brown@mobilizeus.com, and then your phone number is 720-917-4900, and Deborah will go out of her way to help you with just about anything. Let me also mention that another difference between Mobilize Us and Stompercast is, like, if you needed to deliver a series of text messages, like you wanted to set up 20 text messages to go out on a schedule, that's something that Stompercast has. I don't believe you guys have that, right?
We actually do have it, the automated message delivery.
Okay,
cool. We're fixing a bug in it right now, but yeah, we do have that.
Okay, well, that's cool. Okay, see, that's great. I mean, last time I looked at it, it wasn't there, so that's really great. So you've got that as well. So Good.
The other thing is we're really receptive. Like our entire feature, like you said, Dan, we didn't have that feature last time. Well, everything we've developed has been a result of customers saying this would be really valuable to us. And basically we just prioritize everything we do based on, you know, how many people ask for it, and then we try and knock it out and move on to the next thing.
Right. Okay, now someone else, and I remember asking you this question, someone is trying to sign up using the web form, and you've got locations down there. They happen to be in the UK, and the UK is not on your pull-down menu. I know that you're addressing that. She can just select any location, correct?
And select anywhere. We actually are going to get rid of that field. We don't use it. But
Yeah.
for now, you can select anything you want.
Okay, so that's like you get a little mini vacation there if you want to put a little spot you want to go to. So that's that. Let's see.
Dan, I did want to say to you, if you're sending a message from your phone and it's too long, you'll get a message back telling you that it's too long and to shorten and resend. So, you know, if you don't count correctly, you know, when you're trying to subtract your name or for whatever reason, if your message is too long, we'll let you know and you can just shorten and resend.
Okay, someone wants to know if I can spell Deborah, D-E-B-R-A. D-E-B-R-A dot Brown, B-R-O-W-N, at MobilizeUs, MobilizeUS.com. And again, her phone number is 720-917-4900. Okay. All right. Anyway, we're running out of time here. Is there? Let me just remind you, and if there's anything else that you need to say, Deborah, you can kind of wrap it up here. But what Deborah has agreed to do is to give anyone that would like to try the system for a month, you can get 1 month free, and then go from there. And then also, and I know Deborah will accommodate this as well, if you're just putting this together and like you're thinking, well, my gosh, Dan, you know, even if I got 1 month for free, I'm not going to be able to move fast enough and even get enough people in the database for it to even make sense probably for 2 or 3 months. I believe you also have the option, and correct me if I'm wrong, Deborah, where a person could go ahead and start building their group up to a certain number of people, and then once you get it up to a level where you think it's worthwhile, and I'm talking about you, the user, then at that point, and you start actually using the system. So in other words, you'll work with them to make this work if they're in a startup mode and they don't have a lot of messages that are going to be going out in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Some groups it takes 2 days. Some groups it takes 3 months.
Sure.
And we certainly, you know, want it to work for you. And to, you know, if that's what will work after the 1 month free trial, if you don't have enough people to really feel that it's worthwhile, you can keep building your list, no problem. We're very flexible and
oh, I'm sorry. Somebody wants to know, can you kick people off of the group?
Yes, you can.
Okay, and then that's done through a web interface?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And if you want to set up a demo group, you can kind of play around with all that different functionality. You can see the widget code. If you do HTML, you can put that on your website so people can join that way. You can move people around. You can invite people. You can do all sorts of stuff. And again, if you have any questions at all, even if it's just in terms of strategy, please feel free to contact me anytime. I absolutely love working with small businesses and entrepreneurs and helping them get their programs up and running. So please just call me anytime.
Okay. Well, listen, Deborah, I want to thank you so much for the offer and also for helping us out. And if you've got questions, further questions that we haven't addressed, a couple of things you can do. You can contact Deborah. You can also go into the Stomper mobile portal. If you post any questions there that are for Deborah, as you guys know, I've been checking the forums pretty regularly, and I'll make sure that Deborah gets any questions that I can't handle. That's pretty much it. So again, thanks, Deborah. And for you guys that are on the phone, there's just a couple more things that we're going to do to wrap up. And then we'll be done for the night. So let me just dump Deborah here, and we'll move on. Thanks, Deborah.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Now, let's just finish up here with a couple of things, and we'll be good to go. These are kind of some reminders of what you need to do for this week. Let me pull this up to full screen. This is your plan of action for this week. I want you to seek out a text message system this week. You should start to do your search for a system, setting up a system, what have you. If you don't already have a system, you may as well start with Stompercast. That's what I would recommend, that you go there, start with Stompercast. You're getting that for free. Okay, you just found out that the Mobilize system, you can use that one for free. We're currently testing that one anyway as our group, okay? So, you know, keep experiencing, you know, that and explore that. And then if you happen to be outside of the U.S., you need to do some Google searches for text messaging systems, kick some tires, do some trials and demos of systems in your area, meeting the criteria that I laid out earlier. If you want anybody else to help you kick the tires, then post it into the forum, and we'll try to do that. It's sometimes hard for me to test a system, you know, that's in another country, but I can at least read the website and ask around and do things of that nature. Okay. The other thing is that you need to go ahead and integrate your mobile keyword into your into a site or a campaign. That's what I'd recommend that you do. If you've set up a mobile landing page, then what I would recommend that you do is set up a way that people can send your mobile keyword to your short code and go ahead and put that on a page someplace. You'll feel good about doing it. If your system allows you to have a little opt-in box, and I recommend you find a system that does allow that, you can take that opt-in box and put that on your PC website so that people who go to your regular site, they could still perhaps opt into your mobile list. That's just a little snippet of code that you would put into the HTML. If you don't know how to do it, you might need to get a programmer or somebody to help you with it, but it's a very, very simple thing to do, so it wouldn't cost you much to get it done. The next thing I'd like you to do, which is directly related to session 3, is I would like for you to try and write some text messages using the 4 different formulas that I shared with you tonight. If you begin to piecemeal or work the jigsaw puzzle together from session 1, session 2, and session 3, a lot of this stuff starts to fit together. The mobile magnets from the first session fit in with the 7x7 worksheet that you got in the second session, and then these text messages, they fit in as well. All 3 of those things are at the core of our first 3 sessions, and you need to start to see how they work together and then point it over to your mobile landing page or your mobile website or your transition page, whatever it is. All of this stuff starts to weave together, and again, your 7x7 worksheet will help you to keep that organized, okay? I'll be posting this recording to the forum as well, so you'll be able to look at it and the slides and all of that. So that's that. The other thing is just a reminder, we've got quite a few of the tweets or the mobile magnet snippets in. I need more though, and this is traffic. We're going to try to get these live pretty soon. So if you've got 3 of these snippets ready to go with your URLs, all of the information is available at ez.com/snip, S-N-I-P. Go there. Everything you need to know is on the page. Go ahead and submit your mobile magnet snippets so we can start some social media traffic going to your mobile web pages. I want to make sure you do that. The next thing is people are starting to submit mobile resources and articles to our blog, and as well as reviews and case studies. And to remind you, the importance of this is not only the sharing of information, but also the fact that you're going to get SEO and value and traffic, because every time you make a post to either of these blogs, you can include a link to your mobile site, and you can even set it up as a keyword link if you would like to. In order to send a post to the blog, all you do is open up an email and you write an email. The subject line will be the header of the post, and whatever you put in the body of the email becomes the actual blog post. And you can include as many images or photos as you would like. Just attach them to the email. Links will automatically hyperlink. If you happen to have a YouTube video, just put the URL to the YouTube video in there. Whatever you want to put in there, put it in there, and it will become a really great post. And then at the end, you can include your name and a link to your website if you would like. All you do is then send that email to one of the email addresses on the screen. The email at the top is for reviews and case studies. And by reviews, I'm talking about if you would like to do a testimonial or review of the Stomper Mobile program, you can do that. Or if you want to submit any case studies or things that you're trying that are working or any information like that. And the second one is for resources and articles, perhaps if you write an article, if you want to, or if you find resources or articles that you think would help everybody in the group, then send it to the second email address that you see on the screen. So we are done for week number 3, session number 3. We will meet again next Tuesday at the same time. That will be session number 4, and the following week we're going to take off. The following week we'll take off so that you'll have enough time to kind of catch up and get a little breather with a lot of work that you have done here. So I appreciate you guys joining the call tonight. Please post your questions and information in Stomper portal, and I will see you next week at the same time, same station. Thanks so much, guys.